On their wedding night, under the ceremonial red candles, Thẩm Lãng lay alone in his bridal chamber. Well past midnight, Mộc Lan still had not entered the room. Such a precious moment on the wedding night, what a shame to waste it just lying there doing nothing. After all, marriage usually comes with a bit of excitement, right? Yet here he was, unable to sleep. And just at that moment, Mộc Lan walked in. Thẩm Lãng felt a wave of relief. Thankfully, he hadn't done anything embarrassing before she arrived. Seeing Thẩm Lãng get up, Mộc Lan said, "Sit down." He obeyed. She sat across from him at the small table, and the curve of her waist under her dress only made him feel more restless. "I heard a lot about you today," she began. "Some say you're vain. Others say you're useless. Some even claim your intelligence is subpar. But your performance tonight surprised me and impressed my father greatly." "You flatter me," Thẩm Lãng replied. She continued, "Then can you explain why you were such a mess during your time as a live-in son-in-law in the third family, but now you've suddenly changed so dramatically?" Thẩm Lãng answered, "I fell seriously ill back then, almost died. Afterward, something cleared in my head. I'm no longer the bumbling fool I once was." Mộc Lan nodded. "There are things I need to make clear with you." "Go ahead," he said. "I never planned to marry," she began. "I wanted to dedicate everything to my family. But the Chuk clan forced this marriage, so I had no choice but to accept a live-in husband." Thẩm Lãng knew what was coming, but didn't interrupt. She went on, "We are husband and wife in name only, and that will never change. I will never marry another man. But as for marital duties, I ask for your forgiveness. I cannot fulfill them." In other words, she would not consummate the marriage. "I understand," Thẩm Lãng said with a smile. "It may not be temporary. It may be forever," she added. "I still understand." A woman as proud as Mộc Lan would never casually share a bed with any man, even her legal husband. Winning her heart was the only way to ever win her body. From a certain perspective, Thẩm Lãng's marriage into the Count's household wasn't about love. It was for the protection of his family and himself. In a way, neither owed the other anything. Still, Thẩm Lãng couldn't deny that Mộc Lan had done him a great favor by resolving the critical danger threatening the Thumb family. "From now on," she said, "you may live freely within the Count's estate. You'll receive monthly allowances. I will care for your parents. No matter where you are, you may declare yourself my husband. But we may never share a bed. I will live alone for the rest of my life. Do you accept this?" "I do," he replied. "Good. Then we are husband and wife." "You've been wronged, my husband," she said softly.
27.2. "Not at all," he replied calmly, showing no anger or resentment. "Still," she added, "I can't be selfish. I may live in solitude, but you must continue your bloodline. Tonight is your wedding night. I can't let you spend it alone. Bang, come in." At her call, a young girl in a red dress entered. She looked about 18 or 19, beautiful, graceful, and mature in body, yet with a face still carrying hints of youthful innocence. "Bang has been with me since childhood. She's like a sister to me," Mộc Lan said. "From tonight on, she will accompany you and bear your children." Thẩm Lãng was stunned. Who could have imagined this noble goddess would be so generous and thoughtful? "Bang," Mộc Lan said, "tonight is your lord's wedding night. Serve him well." "Yes, my lady," the girl replied shyly, her face flushing. This doesn't seem right," Thẩm Lãng said. "I cannot delay your future nor your lineage," she replied. "No, I am not suffering any grievance. I accept this willingly," he said. Mộc Lan frowned slightly. Could it be that Thẩm Lãng loved her so deeply he refused other women? But that would only make her feel more guilty. "Thẩm Lãng," she said seriously, "please don't hold any illusions about me. My life's dream is to lead armies, expand territory for my clan and country. I'm grateful for your affection, but don't let it cost you your happiness. Spend tonight with Bang. Start a family. Your parents deserve that." He looked at her for a moment, then said, "If my lady is so generous, then I shall not refuse." Then he turned to the shy maid. "Bang. A night of spring is worth 1,000 gold coins. Don't delay. Help me undress." "What?" Kim Mộc Lan froze. She had been so open-minded, but wasn't Thẩm Lãng too direct? Couldn't he at least pretend to be reluctant? She left the room quickly. If she stayed, he might actually undress right then and there. After she left, Thẩm Lãng turned to Bang. She looked delicate, yet her figure was impressive, at least a 36D. Who would have guessed? You really want me to serve you?" she stammered. "Of course," he replied. He wasn't pretending. Marrying into the Count's household had fulfilled his goal. Whether or not Kim Mộc Lan would ever share his bed was no longer important. He admired her, yes, but she had made her stance clear. There was no need to torture himself chasing a fantasy. He had been alone for over 40 years. He wasn't about to keep waiting in vain. Of course, Kim Mộc Lan was stunning. Her figure, her beauty, those long and powerful legs. But Bang was no less attractive. And once the lights went out, the difference wouldn't matter. A beauty like Bang shouldn't be wasted. "Bang Nhi, it's getting late. Let's rest," Thẩm Lãng said, already fully aroused. Bang glanced at him, then bit her lip and began slowly undressing. Thẩm Lãng's eyes narrowed in anticipation. 40 years of virginity, finally about to be released. But as she removed her clothing, tears began streaming down her cheeks. What was this? Why did she look like a sacrificial lamb? Like she was heading to her doom? Did she find him unworthy? "Bang Bang, do you not want to?" he asked. She didn't answer, just cried more. He sighed. Was she unwilling? Fine. Forced love is never sweet. "All right. Go sleep in the next room," he said. She quickly fled. Thẩm Lãng looked down at his tented blanket and muttered, "Third brother, Mộc Lan's room is just nearby. What if I snuck into her bed? What do you think? You'll die, and so will your eggs." He imagined the scene and gave up.
After Ethan stormed out, Evelyn continued eating breakfast, though she paused briefly as she watched him go. A maid named Talia, tall and slender, spoke up. "My lady, the young master is far too vengeful. I'm afraid he'll damage the Lancaster estate's reputation." Talia was usually sharp and efficient, managing much of Evelyn's daily affairs, and she wasn't one to shy away from speaking her mind. Despite her status, many in the estate even respectfully called her Sister Talia. Hearing this, Evelyn set down her chopsticks and glanced coldly at her. Talia wasn't overly afraid. Evelyn had always treated her staff well. Talia added, "I only say this out of concern. The Lancaster estate is known for its fairness and kindness. If the young master behaves so wildly, it might bring trouble to us all." Evelyn's gaze turned icy. Guards, 10 slaps. At once, an older maid stepped forward and slapped Talia across the face 10 times in a row. Smack, smack, smack. At first, Talia couldn't believe it. Her lady, Evelyn, was actually punishing her? Then came the pain. Her nose bled, her face swelled, red and bruised. The rest of the servants fell utterly silent. Evelyn had never acted like this before. Evelyn said coldly, "You all listen well. Even if Ethan is only a son-in-law, he is still your master. Speak ill of him again, and it won't just be slaps next time." Talia was stunned. Evelyn had always favored her. Then Evelyn added, "Throw her out of my quarters. Assign her to the laundry house." That struck true terror.
Talia fell to her knees, sobbing. "My lady, I was wrong. I won't say anything again. Please don't send me there." Among the estate staff, laundry house workers were at the bottom of the hierarchy. Once there, life became miserable. But Evelyn ignored her, and the senior maids dragged her away. Back at the manor's front hall, the steward Kim Jong approached the count. "Sir, your son-in-law Ethan has arrived with tea." The count was in a good mood. Ethan's performance at last night's wedding had impressed many. Of course, suitors like William Lin and Marcus Ye were still far more qualified in his eyes, but Ethan's surprising transformation was useful. Ethan entered the room, respectful and composed, and offered tea to both the count and the countess. The count asked, "Ethan, do you have any plans for today?" Ethan replied, "My parents raised me with hardship. Now that I've married into the Lancaster estate, I fear I've been unfilial. Today, I'd like to visit them and repay a little of what I owe." "Filiality comes first in all things," the count nodded. "Go and bring them some gifts from me." "Thank you, father-in-law." The countess added, "Technically, Evelyn should accompany you to meet your parents, but she has military matters today. I hope you'll accept our apologies." "You're too kind, mother-in-law," Ethan said humbly. No one mentioned the wedding night. Clearly, they already knew or guessed what hadn't happened. After Ethan left, the countess commented, "He seems quite steady." Half an hour later, Ethan departed the estate, not on horseback, which was too tiring, but in a luxurious carriage, escorted by 2 armed Lancaster knights. This was his glorious homecoming.
The carriage gleamed like something from a royal court, and the presence of armed guards drew stares across the city. But instead of heading home, Ethan ordered the driver to reroute straight to Dean Hone's black-clad gang headquarters. "Halt! This is the militia command post. Who dares enter?" The headquarters looked like a small fortress, flying a militia flag. But when they saw the count's insignia on the carriage, they froze. "Charge in," Ethan said. Without hesitation, the 2 Lancaster knights spurred their horses and stormed through. An archer on the wall drew his bow, but someone grabbed his arm. "Are you insane? That's the count's cavalry. You want to die?" Sure enough, the insignia on the carriage confirmed it, House Lancaster. Technically, the gang was part of the city militia, but everyone knew they were just thugs in uniform. Attacking the count's cavalry would be suicide. "Someone go inform the boss!" shouted the watch captain. A gang member sprinted inside to report. Before he appeared, Dean Hone's voice rang out. He strolled out, arms open. "To what do I owe the honor of this visit from House Lancaster? Forgive me for not greeting you sooner." "Stop," Ethan said to the driver and stepped lazily down. "Boss Hone, long time no see." Inside, Dean was groaning. It really was Ethan. "You've barely spent 1 night as the count's son-in-law and you're already here to show off? 2 days ago you bowed and scraped like a worm, and now you strut like a rooster? This petty nouveau riche arrogance, how shameless." Still, he forced a smile. "Young Master Ethan, if you had sent word, I would have come myself. No need for you to trouble yourself." He said it with the warmth of an old friend, but Ethan noticed something. Dean was still calling him you, not sir. How rude. "Please, come in, have some tea," he offered. Inside a lavish reception hall, Ethan sipped his tea slowly. Dean sneered internally. What would this spoiled brat know about tea? But his face remained courteous. "So, what brings you here today, young Master Ethan?" "I came to settle a debt. 1,000 gold coins. We both know real men repay what they owe." Dean laughed and pulled out a loan note,
a contract signed in blood by Ethan long ago. Then with a smile, he ripped it into pieces and tossed it into the candle flame. What debt? I don't remember anything like that. A clever move, trying to erase the obligation. But Ethan raised an eyebrow. You burn the contract, Boss Hone? That's suspicious. Now there's no proof. If word gets out, people might think I came to scam you. Dean choked on his tea. God damn. In all his years, he'd never met someone so shameless. You're not refusing to repay me, are you? Ethan asked. Dean gritted his teeth. He wanted more than to butcher Ethan on the spot, but he couldn't. Swallowing his pride, he smiled. Others might skip debts, but not me. He turned and shouted, "Bring 1,000 gold coins." A moment later, a servant arrived with a heavy chest, about 50 kilograms of gold. "Please count it," he said, still using you instead of sir. Insulting. No need. We're old friends. I'll waive the interest. Dean nearly exploded. Not only did you extort 1,000 gold, but you want interest too? Still, he smiled again. Of course, brothers settle accounts cleanly. He pulled out another 100 coins and handed them over. Anything else I can do for you? Where's 13? Ethan asked. Dean froze. Why do you ask that? He came to my house, tried to arrest my parents, and threatened to kill us. I want to break his legs. Dean's face twitched. Outrageous! This little bastard was pushing it way too far.
Dean Hoang clenched his fist so hard that his nails dug into his palm. His heart seethed with resentment. Why? He had spent decades training in martial arts, risking his life, shedding blood to build what he had today. And now this pretty boy, this Ethan, who just 2 days ago was as insignificant as an ant, someone Dean could have crushed with a finger, dared to march into his territory and slap him in the face? All because he had a handsome face? Every second, Dean Hoang had to suppress the urge to smash Ethan's smug face into the floor. But he couldn't. So he faked outrage instead. 13 dared to offend young Master Ethan? Outrageous! When he returns, I'll break both his legs myself. Ethan raised an eyebrow. He's not here? No, Dean replied with a fake laugh. Last night I sent him to White Ridge City. He won't be back for a month or two. What a ridiculous coincidence. He didn't believe a word. But he couldn't exactly barge in and search the place. Fine, if he's not here, so be it. But when he returns, you'd better inform me immediately. I will break his legs. I won't let this go. Of course, Dean nodded with forced friendliness. Let's go, Ethan said, turning to leave. As they approached the door, the two Lancaster knights looked at the chest of gold on the table, unsure whether they should take it. Ethan said plainly, "Take it. It's what Dean Hoang owed me. It has nothing to do with the Lancaster estate." The knights picked up the gold and followed Ethan out. But as they exited, they exchanged glances. Was this really the right man to marry Lady Evelyn? This level of shamelessness? Wasn't it tarnishing the family's honor? As soon as Ethan left, Dean Hoang snapped. He slammed the tea table, smashing the porcelain teacups, especially the one Ethan had used, into dust beneath his heel. "Burn the damned chair he sat on," he roared. Two gang enforcers rushed in with blades, chopped the chair into firewood, and dragged it to the kitchen for burning. "Godfather, don't be angry," came a voice. It was 13, Dean Hoang's adopted son. He hadn't gone anywhere. He'd been hiding inside the entire time. That worthless Ethan may act arrogant now, but the Count of Northbridge is a man of law and virtue. He won't let this punk get away with such behavior. We might hear of Ethan's mysterious death inside the estate any day now." Điền Hoành growled. "I can't believe this. How did a pathetic coward turn into such a brazen scoundrel overnight? It's like he magically became someone else." Of course, he knew Ethan wasn't a fool, but venting still felt good.
He's just a foolish upstart, suddenly rich, but never refined. Did you see his smug face? He'll never amount to anything. Điền Hoành sighed. Don't go out for the next few days. Stay low, stay inside. I don't want you attracting attention. 13 scowled, but nodded. Yes, sir. But... Just then, Ethan burst back in. A surprise return. 13 panicked and tried to escape. Don't run, I see you, Ethan called out with a cold grin. 13, you sure got back fast from White Ridge City. 1,000 miles in one blink, amazing. Điền Hoang's face twisted. You little bastard, not only are you shameless, you're cunning. You left just to pull a sneak attack? Ethan turned to 13. You led a group to my house, broke down the door, tried to arrest my parents and brother. If Kim Jong hadn't arrived, they'd be dead. I'm just here to break your legs. That's mercy. 13's face trembled, his eyes filled with hatred. He knew begging was useless. Ethan wasn't the kind to forgive. Ethan turned back to Điền Hoang. Boss Dean, you gave me your word. If 13 returned, you'd break his legs to calm my anger. Well, here he is. Do it. Điền Hoang closed his eyes. He didn't want this. In fact, after last night when he realized Ethan had truly married into the Lancaster estate, he had gone looking for powerful backing, Governor Zhang Shung. Through his son, Victor Zhang, he offered 5 casinos and 35% of the profits in exchange for protection. That deal had nearly bled him dry, since over 60% of his income came from gambling. But it gave him leverage to resist the Lancaster family. He didn't want a full conflict. But this brat, this Ethan, wouldn't stop. Suddenly, Điền Hoang's face darkened. He punched the heavy mahogany table. Crack! It split into pieces. The 2 Lancaster knights instantly drew their swords, standing in front of Ethan. Regardless of what they thought of him, their duty was to protect him with their lives. Ethan, you've gone too far, Điền Hoang roared. There was no way he'd hurt 13. Not out of love, but out of principle. 13 had only followed his orders. If he punished him, he'd lose face and authority. His men would never trust him again. Boss Dean, Ethan said coolly, you gave your word. Why are you blaming me now? Điền Hoang growled. Ethan, enemies should be resolved, not created. Let it go. Ethan's voice turned cold. When I was weak, you tried to kill me, kill my entire family. Did you show mercy then? Điền Hoang stared at him and snarled. You're not powerful. You're just borrowing the Lancaster family's name. Now that the masks were off, Điền Hoang showed his true face. Yes, he admitted, you're married into House Lancaster. I won't touch you, but you're just a live-in son-in-law, barely above a servant. You can't touch me. 13 chimed in. Besides, the Count values order. You've just entered the household and already act like a tyrant. He'll not tolerate you. He may even expel you for the good of the family name. Điền Hoang added, the Count is a man of rules.
My turf isn't under his domain. I'm a militia commander under the city governor's office. As long as I don't provoke the Count directly, he won't do a thing. In truth, Northbridge was under reform. The Count had to walk carefully. He avoided meddling in military or civil matters beyond his authority, lest he be targeted. So many powerful eyes, governor's office, royal inspectorate, were waiting for him to slip. Điền Hoành smirked. I was willing to be civil, Ethan. I even thought we could be allies, but you pushed too far. I gave you face and you spat on it. Don't blame me for what's next. Ethan's face darkened. Then I'll ask one last time. Will you break 13's legs? Điền Hoành sneered. You want it done? Do it yourself, or order your little guards to do it. Ethan? Do it himself? Impossible. And the Lancaster Knights? They'd protect him, but they wouldn't obey his orders to attack. Ethan glanced at them. They looked away. Message clear. We don't answer to you. Điền Hoành laughed. You had your chance. Now you've thrown your pride away. Evelyn had told him he could slap Điền Hoành and Điền Hoành wouldn't fight back. But breaking 13's legs? That was going too far. Điền Hoành had snapped. Ethan's face tensed. Then he laughed. Boss Dean! Chanye. I've got things to do today, visiting my parents, but let me make a vow. What vow? Điền Hoành smirked. Ethan said, word by word. Tomorrow, in front of me, you will personally break 13's legs. All the words you've said today, I'll make you swallow them whole. Điền Hoành laughed wildly. Big talk. You're just a son-in-law. Don't act like you're a king. You're nothing but a borrowed tiger's roar. You think you can crush me? Keep dreaming. Ethan said calmly. Tomorrow will come quickly. We'll see. I'll be watching, Điền Hoành said coldly. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Tomorrow, I'll make you feel pain in your bones. You'll regret this. So much, you'll cough blood.
After leaving Điền Hoang's estate with his men in black, Ethan rushed back to his family's home without delay. His parents and younger brother had been waiting at the gate long before his return. His mother, unable to contain her excitement, ran to greet him while he was still halfway down the hill. "My son, how did the Count's daughter treat you?" she asked eagerly. Ethan smiled. "She treats me very well." "That puts my heart at ease," his mother beamed. Behind him, 2 knights from the Lancaster estate carried chest after chest of gifts into the modest home. Fine fabrics, rice, flour, meats, and a variety of medicinal herbs. Evelyn had been thoughtful enough to prepare healing supplies, knowing Ethan's father and brother were still recovering from their injuries. Then Ethan brought out 300 gold coins, placing them before his father. "Let's build a new house, a proper one. Use real tiles this time." His father's face shifted uneasily. "Ethan, I know you're with the Lancaster family now. It's okay for us to benefit a little, but we absolutely cannot use their money. It would bring shame upon your name, as if you were using their wealth to lift yourself up." He spoke gently, but the meaning was clear. They didn't want Ethan to be seen as an ungrateful parasite. Ethan reassured them. "This money didn't come from the Lancaster estate. I earned it myself." "How did you earn it?" his father asked. "I invented a new dye formula and sold it to one of the city's major silk merchants. I was afraid to use the money before, but now that I'm part of the Lancaster family, I feel safe spending it." Of course, Ethan couldn't tell them the truth, that he'd swindled the money from Điền Hoành. That would only make them refuse it more. Even so, his father remained hesitant. He'd pampered Ethan his entire life. It felt wrong to take money from his own child. Ethan chuckled. A big house means I'll have a proper place to stay when I visit. What if Evelyn comes with me someday? We can't have her sleep in a straw hut, can we? That finally persuaded his father. He may not believe the Count's daughter would ever set foot in their home, but on the off chance she did, they needed to save face. A house that big doesn't need 300 gold coins. 10 or 15 would be enough. He'd never even held a gold coin before. Silver coins were the most he'd ever used. In a countryside village like this, even a 6-room tiled house with blue bricks and solid stone wouldn't cost more than 100 gold coins. Ethan said firmly, the house needs to be big, imposing, thick walls, tall fences. You've got expensive taste, he chuckled. Nearby, Ethan's younger brother Ken looked at him with wide-eyed admiration. He'd always been a small-time rascal. Now that Ethan had married into nobility, Ken dreamed of leaving the village and seeing the world. Rest and recover, Ethan said. Once you're better, I'll take you with me and help you make something of yourself. Ken grinned. Once I make it big, I'm marrying Widow Liu. His dreams were certainly ambitious. Later, their mother prepared a hearty lunch, even though it was already afternoon. Ethan happily shared the meal with his family. She invited the 2 Lancaster knights to join them, but they declined. After unloading the gifts, they stood guard outside, each pulling out a large flatbread to eat. It was a sign of respect, but also distance. They were willing to protect Ethan, but they didn't see themselves as part of his family. Ethan didn't take offense. If they preferred to eat outside, let them. When his mother tried to serve them tea, he stopped her. Just give them some boiled water. In that moment, Ethan made a decision. He needed his own loyal men. Not many, just 1 or 2 would suffice, but they had to be willing to act on his command without hesitation. He couldn't keep handling everything personally. It was undignified. What mattered wasn't numbers, but loyalty and dependability. Say when. After lunch, Ethan prepared medicine for his father, applied fresh herbs to his brother's broken bones, and rewrapped the bandages with clean cloth. His parents watched him with joy and pride. Their once helpless son had grown into a wise, capable man. Their hearts swelled with warmth. As the sun began to set, Ethan bade farewell to return to the Lancaster estate.
His mother's eyes brimmed with tears, though her smile never faded. Ethan, something's happened to Big Ben. It doesn't look good. Please go check on him. Big Ben was Ethan's childhood friend. Though mentally challenged, he had protected Ethan since they were kids. While Ken had fought off bullies for Ethan, Big Ben had always taken the hits in Ethan's place. While Ethan headed to Big Ben's home, as he walked through Maple Leaf Village, the villagers peeked from behind their doors, whispering and pointing. Their gazes were a mix of surprise, jealousy, and awe. Who would have thought this good-for-nothing Ethan would rise to such heights, marrying into the Count's family? Now the village fool had become untouchable. Still, when Ethan looked their way, they quickly flashed flattering smiles. But beneath those smiles were bitter thoughts. He was kicked out of the Zoo family before. Maybe the Lancaster family will throw him out too. Let's see how long he lasts. These villagers might appear simple and kind, but deep down they were calculating. They didn't like others doing better than them. Ethan didn't even bother acknowledging them. Why should he? They'd mocked him his whole life, bullied him, isolated him. Now they wanted to smile and pretend it never happened? The only one who had ever truly protected him was Big Ben. Whenever the village kids threw rocks at Ethan, Big Ben shielded him, even taking a pile of manure to the face once. Big Ben was simple-minded, like a character from a Dickens novel. He'd been born unusually large, over 12 pounds at birth. His mother had died giving birth to him, and as he grew, his head swelled abnormally. Despite barely having enough to eat, he grown to over 2 meters tall by 18. Though strong enough to rival an ox, he had the gentlest soul, never fought back, even when beaten. If someone hit him, he'd turn around and offer his back. Whenever Ethan got hurt, Big Ben would wrap him in his massive arms, taking every blow himself. After his mother died, Big Ben's father remarried and had another son. From that day on, Big Ben was treated like a servant, barely fed, denied even proper meals. Still, he never complained. Ethan's mother had said something had happened, so Ethan rushed to Big Ben's home. From the outside, it looked decent. His father was a famous hunter and also head of the local militia, so the house was well built, with tiled roofs and a courtyard. Where's Big Ben? Inside, only his stepmother and younger half-brother were present. The stepmother looked surprised to see Ethan. "You? What are you doing here?" Then she got sight of his noble attire and the knights behind him and quickly covered her mouth. "Big Ben is out working," she said. "Do you need something?" "Working?" But Ethan's mother had said he was hurt. "Where is he? I'll go to him. And also, here's some money. Make sure he gets fed properly every day, understand?" He tossed her a pouch with 50 silver coins. Once Ethan settled things with the Lancaster family, he planned to take Big Ben and Ken with him, but for now, Ben had to stay behind. At least he wouldn't starve. The stepmother's eyes lit up. She snatched the money and nodded eagerly. "Of course! I'll make sure he eats well. I'll even give him meat." "You're so kind, Ethan. You've really made it, but you haven't forgotten your old friends." Meanwhile, the half-brother sneered. "Big Ben? He's probably dead, thrown into the ravine somewhere." Ethan's face darkened. Without another word, he bolted from the house.